There's a series I want to bring up that was one of my favorites that you were on, called Close to Home. And the reason,
are you kidding me, man?
the reason why it's my favorite is they had hired you to play like a cool musician character. That did not happen whatsoever. You ended up holding the baby every episode. At the top of the show, you would kiss your wife goodbye. At the end of the show, you were holding the baby, or through like the middle of the show. And I want to talk about that experience.
Such a dick.
No.
For the listeners out there, you have to understand something. I was going through this when me and Ross and Crawford were going out and getting drunk every night on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yeah.
So you have to know that about us. So Ross went through this with me. Yeah. So what do you want to know, man? So my
here's the what were you hired to do? What was the role of Jack Chase? What was the role of Jack Chase? And what was
his name up? I forgot his name already, man. You brought his name up.
So Jack Chase, when you get that character in Breakdown, tell the audience who he was supposed to be.
So Jack Chase, I can't believe you found his name. So Jack Chase was when I was hired. Jack Chase was a musician.
He was a cool musician.
He was a cool musician. Yeah, he was a musician, and he literally like he was a construction worker, but he did like some musician stuff. And I can't believe you're bringing this up.
Well, because here's the thing. You're an amazing musician, which we're going to get to in a moment. But you're an amazing musician, and when you got that role, you were super excited, and you were like, man, I'm going to get to play music. This is a really cool show. It's a really cool gig.
Not only that, but you have to say something. I went back to. I remember the night that I went back, and Ross was there. We're all hanging out of the house, and Crawford was there, and Ross was there, and I told him, I said, man, I just booked a Jerry Bruckheimer show.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were.
By the way, number one on Friday nights on CBS. 100%. Huge network.
Yeah,
everything else.
Huge network. People love the show too. Like
I was number 2 on the call sheet.
Yep.
And I ended up. I was supposed to be a musician, and I was supposed to be a construction worker, and things didn't work out well. CBS had dropped to procedural shows in the courtroom during that time, so I couldn't. So they moved everything from the whole show, which was supposed to be, it's called Close to Home, which are crimes happening close to home, which was how we dealt with it. The lead girl and me that just had a baby being next to stuff that happens in rural America.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you say, this is not downtown LA. This is like, backyard Ohio. And so that was the whole thing, and it was supposed to be a different show, but they lost procedurals, so they moved everything into the courtroom. And so there I am. I'm literally like number 2 on the call sheet. I'm in 10 out of 22 episodes. I get turned to, the guy that I know the story that you want me to tell.
Oh,
I know that I turned into the guy that's just, every time she gets home, 1 out of 3 episodes that's holding the baby.
Yeah.
Just go, the Mr. Mom, which I wouldn't have mind playing Mr. Mom.
Sure.
But I just didn't want to do it 1 out of 3 episodes. By the way, I still got paid. But
you made a lot of money on that show, and which is gonna bring me to the point of this. So most people would have been super.
You want me to tell the all right, go ahead.
Yeah. So most people would have been.
You want me to tell the Emilio Estevez story?
Wait, yeah. So most people would have been super amped to taking a huge paycheck and just holding a baby every episode. Because what happened was she was out. Your wife in the show was out solving crimes all day, while you were taking care of the baby, this newborn baby that you guys had. And one day we were playing golf at the same place, the same par 3 where they shot swingers at. And it was you, me, and Kane Crawford. We're playing par 3, and your cell phone goes off, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to come." And we had been, day drinking all day, and you were like, "Man, fuck this." You were like, "Man, I'm not gonna go in just to hold the goddamn baby anymore. I'm gonna take matters into my own hands." And Kane and I were like, "All right, cool. What are you gonna do?" And you're like, "Man, I gotta get killed off the show somehow."
By the way, you have to tell them that nobody was working at the time, man. It was like
no one.
That's when somebody gets a call, when that phone rings, dude. We're all like, "What's going on? What are we doing? What are we doing?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You have to preface that. Yeah.
I will, because at the time, like, work was hard. And none of us, I think me and Kane were in between movies. Like, we hadn't gotten gigs in 4 or 5 months at this point. We're like, fuck, what are we gonna do? You were on a highly rated CBS procedural show, getting a ton of money.
Sorta.
And you were pissed about holding this baby while your wife solved crimes all day. So that day on the golf course, you were like, man, I'm going to tell him to fucking kill me off. And Clan and I are like, no, don't do it. It's so much money. And you were like, I'll get another TV show. Fuck it. And they killed you off in the most violent fashion of all time. What did you think when you read that script?
I got on the phone. Man, I talked to Terry Bruckheimer, who's, everybody knows who the biggest
film producer of all time.
And I said, will you take, and it was a couple of people on the phone, and I was like this and that. They said, will you take a divorce? And I said, you got it. And they called me back an hour later and they said, will you show up? Which, if they make me reoccurring, a la Angel, I don't have to show up.
Right.
So they said, are you going to show up? And I said, we'll see. So 7 hours later, I get a call. And it's from Bruckheimer's people. And they said, it was Jerry. And I was like, I'm thinking I'm blackballed at this, blacklisted. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
from
it's just
town.
Gonna be like nobody's ever going to work with you again, like all this other stuff, because you're not going to play ball with us and stuff like that. And they go, okay, you're dead. And I went from making more money, I think, at that time than I ever had before. And they said, we're going to kill you. And I said, thank you.
Oh boy, yeah.
And I'll never forget that, man, because it was just like I just cut out a paycheck, but it's quality of life, man. It's quality of life. I really honestly don't give a shit about money when it comes to that stuff. It's quality of life, and I was not happy, and I was not having a good time. And so they killed me, and they said there's going to be a horrible, horrible car accident. And all this kind of, but the thing you skipped was that I worked, and I got to bring this story up, and I can't believe we're talking about
That's fine.
This show, this piece of shit show that I was on for that long. But still, one of the directors came in, and it was Emilio Estevez, which if you. Young Guns, man. I became an actor because of this guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, and he directed an episode, and he was like, he came in and he goes, so here's what I want, man. He goes, she comes in, you've got the baby. She comes in, and you put the baby in the crib, and then she comes in, and then. She makes some, you get up, you're going to make her some tea, I think was the thing. You get up, you make her some tea, then you come back, you hand her the tea, and you start rubbing her back, her shoulders.
Right.
And she tells you, and that way I can get a two-shot, which, if you know anything about it, I can get a two-shot of you over her, and she tells you about her day, and we can get rid of some of this dialogue. Right. And so I'm supposed to get up. I'm supposed to go make her some tea, come back into the room, hand her the tea, and rub her shoulders. And I said, I love it, Emilio. I love it.
Yeah.
I said, or here's something we could do. I could be watching the baseball game on the couch, and she could come in and plop her ass on the couch and tell me about her day. And then you get a two-shot there, and I really don't give a crap about what's going on.
You told this to Emilio Estevez?
I told it to Emilio, and Emilio looked at me and he goes, you have to get off the show. And I said, for the first time in my life, I go, oh my God, you're absolutely right. I was like, yeah. And Emilio, by the way, gave me something that I told Emilio that I told him that, he was one of the reasons I became an actor, and he's an unbelievable director. He's an unbelievable director. He's an unbelievable person in life. And he dug in his drawer and found the last star from Young Guns 2 that he gave to the crew and the cast and the crew. and it says Young Guns 2, and on the back it says, "I'll make you famous, Emilio."
Oh man, that's awesome. You still have that, right?
I still have that. Are you kidding me? I'll never, you had to pry that from my cold dead hands. And I'll never forget it. I'm not saying anything about Emilio except for the fact that he was the one that literally goes, "You got to get off this show," because it was killing me, man. You want to act. I don't give a shit about the money. You want to act. You want to be out there. You want to do all this stuff, and that show was not for me.
Sure.
Thank you, Ross, for bringing that up.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah. You're welcome.